Today we're talking about the 3 crucial steps when moving up and buying in a new community here in Calgary. You don't want to miss this. If you're considering buying in a newer area, not brand new, but a newer area that's been built in the last 5 years and there's new homes in there as well, you got to watch this video because we got 3 things we're talking about right after this. Hey everybody, my name is Jared Chamberlain, and I am here and joined by Tony Cusano.
Hello.
Hello. How are you today, Tony?
Good. You?
I'm doing well.
Awesome.
I'm doing well. We're talking about 3 crucial steps that you have to consider and do when you are buying in a new community. This is a topic that is close to the heart of Tony.
Yes.
Yes. Why is it close to your heart?
Well, I've helped a lot of clients purchase new homes, and I've also been thinking about it myself. So I'm kind of in that stage of, do I do it or not? Does it make sense?
Makes sense.
Yeah.
We just said make sense at the same time.
Yeah.
That was very weird. No, I get it. And I mean, you guys, you have little kids.
Yeah.
Now we're digging into you. You're like my client now. You have little kids.
Yeah.
They're growing up, need more space.
Exactly.
And there's a ton of people out there watching that are just like that.
Yes.
Like you guys.
Yep.
Right. And I think that's why we talk about moving up so much, is because there is such a need out there for families moving up to that next phase of life and what's happening.
That's right.
Right. So, well, let's jump right in. Let's dive in and talk about these 3 critical things that you've got to consider when you are buying in a new community. So let's maybe talk about the definition of a new community. What would you say is your definition?
I would say a new community is, like 5 years or so. There's definitely homes still being built there. So the builders are in there offering pre-possession homes, quick possession homes. Or you can go in there and pick your plan and sculpt your home the way you want it and take 8-9 months before you actually move into it.
Yeah, or longer now.
Yeah, some are up to a year. So,
well, and it is interesting because then you end up having this competition where you could be looking at resale and looking at other stuff. But we're jumping ahead. So the first thing that we want to talk about is you don't want to get caught up in the emotions and know what you have to sell in the future, because sometimes going into the new builds and to these new homes, emotionally, it's exciting. Because it's brand new and it's fresh and clean and staged, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely, you'll walk into a show home, obviously, and everything in there is upgraded.
Yeah.
And it's hard to, even if you go through the process of purchasing the home that way, once you get to the stage of picking out your selections, what is included in the home in that price compared to what the show home has is 2-3 steps above what is included. So next thing you know,
that's right. Yeah,
you're spending a lot more than you expected because you want those fancy upgrades.
Because you emotionally bought them.
Of course.
Yeah, totally. Well, and I think that's the other part of that is the second half of that first step or crucial step you got to look at is know what you will have to sell in the future. Because I don't think that many buyers actually think about how sellable is this product, and just thinking it of as a product, because we don't live in our houses forever. That doesn't happen anymore. I mean, it does for some, but how sellable is this in the future? And is there going to be still new builds happening when you are selling? Because now they become your direct competition.
That's right.
And so knowing that out in the future is really important too, right? Yes,
and I've had a good example is I had a client who, last year we went through that whole process. Yeah. And his big thing was, and he knew right away, he's like, I'm not looking at being in this home for more possibly than 3 to 5 years. He's like, I might not even be in Canada in that amount of time. So it was really big to make sure he stayed within budget and pick the selections that still gave him that awesome feel for the home, but didn't overdo it and wouldn't get a return when he did want to sell in that 3 to 5 years.
Yeah. And that's a huge thing to walk through. And that's so much more analytical than what most buyers are considering or thinking about because they're being so emotional in decision. So yeah, that's good. And if you're watching, I mean, you have comments about this or any experience about buying in a new home, I mean, put them in the comments below. We'll see them, and we'd love to have a conversation about it. So the second thing is understanding the resale market that is out there, and don't just focus on the new builds or the new homes, right?
Yeah. I like to go through the resale market, see what's available, understand that, when you're buying a new home, there's going to be those extra costs of landscaping, a fence, stuff like that. But also knowing what that market is for the resale and what it's going to cost you to buy one of those. Yeah. And maybe it has everything you already want, and you can move in a month or so. Totally. And not go through the long process of buying or purchasing a new build. Yeah. Because there is a lot of appointments that you have to go through.
And time.
Which you're taking away from work. Yeah. So that's definitely something to consider.
Well, and even the things too, when you end up building a new house, the things that you put in don't always get you the value out. No. Whereas like landscaping, backyard, decks, fences, all of that stuff, you don't get that money back when you go to resale. So finding a home that is even a year old or waiting for something to come up for 4 months is going to still be quicker and potentially better for you than buying something brand new.
That's right.
Would you agree with that? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. There's so many aspects to consider. And I like to look at all of them.
Yeah, totally.
It could be tiring, and it could be a bit of a long process if you are working with me. But at the end of the day, it's how happy you're going to be. And that's what I'm looking out for.
But that's the right way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think with that too is we're not saying you have to work with an agent and buy resale in a newer community. Don't go to builders. That's not what we're saying. So if you're hearing that, that's not what we're saying. Apologies. What we are saying is builders are okay with working with agents, but you need to have an agent with you to figure out the whole process, because there might be things that you don't know about that new area, that new community, and some of the resale homes that are available to you that have the stuff that you want. And even if it could be less money, you're going to save on the cost of it. Plus landscaping might be done. A basement might be finished.
That's right.
And you could just spend $10,000 and upgrade and go back to what the new home was and get things a certain way. So there's a lot of options in here, and that is kind of what we're trying to say, I guess.
Yes. And I think it's important too. A lot of people love the new smell.
I know.
Home. And
it's just like glue.
Exactly.
It's carpet glue. That's what everyone loves.
Yeah. But it's also important to get a feel of what is important to you.
Absolutely.
So by going to these resale homes, I can, when I'm with a client, I'll key into certain things that they're looking at, and like, I really like the light, or I really want a gas stove and stuff like that, where a home, when you're building, doesn't necessarily offer all that. So when we're in that meeting with the builder, I can help you and say like, does this have this window, or we'd want a bigger window here, and that's going to save you from surprises down the road of extra costs for upgrades.
Absolutely. No, that's good. That's good. And so I guess the third one is kind of a overarching potential topic. It applies to this, but applies to a lot of other things too. But really being careful in who you're working with as the agent to buy your house, as well as selling your current place. Because if you are in Tony's situation, you have a house that you're going to sell and you're moving up to the next place, and having a strategy tied to that. And so that is really, really key. And I'll let Tony talk about this and his thoughts too. But I also want to let you know that we have a guide, 7 mistakes that a lot of clients that we end up working with, or just buyers and sellers, make when hiring an agent. And so go in the comment or in the description here, we'll have a link. You can go get that guide, and it's going to help you in figuring out exactly who you should be working with, some questions you can ask them, and all that kind of stuff. But what are some of your thoughts around that?
Well, a lot of builders will have or offer a realtor that they're working with to sell your home.
And at a deep discount commission too.
Yeah. Where you're not paying for both sides of the representation.
Yeah.
But then you also have to question, who are they working for? How much time are they going to be putting into selling your place?
Yeah.
Those are all things you definitely want to look at and want to talk to other people and see their perspective of it, other realtors, what they think your home's worth, what you can do to get more out of it, all that kind of stuff. And it's a big thing with selling too, when you're purchasing a home, is the timing.
Yes,
so you want to make sure the transition is nice and easy.
Well, timing with when your house is ready, the new one, timing with the market.
That's right.
Like there's a lot of little things that come into place. Like it might be actually better to sell it earlier because the market's really hot, rent something, or move back in with family if you don't have little kids or parents, or like it's building a plan, right?
Yeah.
And I know from our own experience, I remember clients that had that option, and sometimes I remember some clients chose it and went with it, and they were happy. I had clients that chose it and went with that agent and were very not happy at all. But then I've had other clients who said and didn't take that option and were willing to pay commissions and have us involved in it, and they were very glad they did. So there's no right or wrong answer. It comes down to your situation. But I guess through all of this is we just want to make you aware of it, that is something that could come up, and think through what that could be and how to ask those questions and come up with a process that's going to work for you, right? Yeah,
you definitely don't want to rush that, and explore all your options for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there you go. So those are the 3 things. So the first one, we'll recap it here, is don't get caught in the emotions and know what you have to sell in the future. So know what that product is that you're purchasing, that home that you're buying, and know what it's going to be and the resale opportunities of what you have in the future. Second one is understanding the real estate market. Don't just focus on the new builds. Some communities have that, but don't just focus on that. Look at the resale market too and see what's out there, because there could be a really good option for you. And last one, the third one, is be careful with who you work with to sell your house. But again, get that guide that's down below. 7 mistakes when hiring an agent. Get that, and you're going to have some great information, great content for you to have conversations with you and your family when making one of the biggest decisions of selling and buying that you're probably going to make in a long time.
Yes.
There you go. Well, that's what we have. So have a wonderful day, everybody. And thank you for joining, Tony.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. If anyone's still watching, which I hope you should be, if we want to get a hold of you, what's the best way?
You can reach me on my cell, social media, through the office. I'm available anywhere and everywhere.
Totally. What's your Instagram?
Tony Sells Calgary.
Tony Sells Calgary. There you go, everybody. All right. We'll talk to you guys later, and we'll see ya.